All right, let's go check on the glass in the tumbler. And it has shut off automatically after 7 days. Let us see what it's gonna look like. So exciting. All right, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. The anticipation. What will it be? Will it be amazing? Will it be scary? You have to get in between the two rubber lips, and you don't want to hurt them. I'm using a plastic knife, but I'm trying not to use the sharp part of it to get in here. Oh, that was it. And ugh, look at that sea foam. That is so gross. That's from all the really fine grit mixing with the water and tons of bubbles from getting tossed around for days. So this is after 7 days with the sea glass. For those of you who did not see the other videos, this tumbler is mostly made for stones, and then they have grits 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, just to be weird, I picked grit 1 and grit 3, and then I picked some real sand to make it mimic the way sea glass might be kicked around by the actual ocean, real sea glass. And I also got some pebbles, even though they're turquoise, pretty harsh. And I got some seashells, and I broke them up with the hammer, so they were kind of like broken seashells, like what you mostly find on the beach. And hopefully with all of that, I was hoping to really imitate what the ocean does to broken glass to make it into sea glass, only in a much shorter period, because this tumbling does in days what takes the ocean sometimes years or hundreds of years sometimes to do. So, but most people said sea glass only 2, 3, 4 days tops. Well, I checked them after 4 days, and I'll show you what they looked like. But now this is the full 7 days, so let's see. This foam is super gross. Ew. We got something here. What do we have? Some monstrous something or other. Actually, you know what? We're gonna empty this whole thing. So in fact, rather than fishing them out like last time, I should probably just strain the whole thing. How would that work? I guess we could just dump it in here, right? Just dump it all. Haha. And then we'll just pour some water. And some more water. Let's make sure we got the rest of this. Okay, how do we do this? We'll take this, put it through the strainer so we don't lose anything. Oh, already the glass is on that side, hanging out, having fun. Why can't we just rinse this down the sink? Well, the grit is really bad for your pipes. It could literally destroy your plumbing. So you don't want to do that. You want to dump this grit in the trash or, you know, somewhere safe. All right, I'm just plunging in and grabbing everything by hand. See what we come up with. As you can see, even the broken pieces of shell and the pebbles got tumbled really, really, really smooth from what they were before. And finally, our sea glass. Because I didn't want to rinse them in the sink and get that grit down the drain, I had to transfer them to several pieces of paper towel and dry them all off and smush all the dust and dirt and stuff and then dip them in water again. And anyway, Okay, you can kind of get a sense from this. These are the beginning broken bottle pieces before I put them in. Again, this is just wine glass and various beer bottles. I'd rather wine bottle. Very sharp. You have to be very careful. You should handle these with gloves. They'll slice you right up. This is after 4 days. Beautiful, smooth, frosted, pretty. This is after 7 days. The frosting is a little more pronounced. You can see it in the blue. I can't see it in any of the other colors. It looks exactly the same from the 4 days to the 7 days. So I would say 4 days is probably fine. Some people have had success with 2 days or 3 days, but I feel like the 4 really came out good. As far as smoothness, not detecting a big difference. No, I'll take that back. I'd say there's definitely, you can still feel a little bit, it doesn't scratch at all. It's completely smooth. But this is more still of a squared edge, whereas this is like a much more rounded edge. So if you want to leave them in longer. Now the hazard, and I don't know if this is the difference between 4 days and 7 days, or it's just going to happen no matter what, is all the pieces I put in were like large pendant size, and only about 1/3 of them survived to that size. A lot of them broke up into smaller sizes, and they all pretty much got tumbled afterwards. There's only a few where they broke at the very end and they have edges that aren't really as smooth as I'd like. But so you're going to have broken pieces if you use thin bottle glass and you do it the way I did it. Maybe if I didn't put as much heavy pieces of these giant pebbly stuff, I would have had less breakage. Maybe if I just put in smaller pieces to start, I really don't know. But I do know a lot of my pendant pieces survived, and this was really fun. And the bottles cost me nothing. I got them from people who were, I went in the bar and I had to fight a bunch of people to get their empty bottles because they didn't understand why I wanted their empty bottles. And so I have the bruises and the scars to show for it. But there's a lot of people suffering right now because they decided to fight me instead of giving up their bottles willingly. So it was free. And then these came from the dollar store. This came from the dollar store. This came from the dollar store. The tumbler itself, you can get for like 50, 60 bucks. I got one with a timer on it that was a little bit easier to manage because I'm not responsible to check times. So you could set it for up to 9 days, and you could set 3 different speeds. So that one cost $89. Still not bad. It came with a grit. It came with, a whole bunch of stones you can tumble on your own. So fun stuff. You guys should try it. It's a fun thing to do. And it's really not as loud as I thought it would be. I put it in the back room. I put a bunch of foam pieces around it, kind of made like a little box out of just pieces of foam. And if you got close to it, it sounded, and closed your eyes and forgot it was there, it sounded like rain outside. It sounded like, for some reason I kept thinking, it's raining today, I better get a coat. And I was like, oh no, that's the tumbler. But that's only when you were close to it. If you shut the door, really didn't hear it in the next room. So fun stuff. That I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna put these in some of the stone kits that I'm selling to people, and I'm going to maybe wrap some for some future videos, make some cool pendants. But here's the rest of it, and I'm pretty excited. This was a fun experiment. If I could do it again, would I do 7 days? Probably not. I'd maybe try 5, and I'd maybe try slightly smaller pendants in hopes that they wouldn't break as much. Maybe more like that size, because I had these nipper things and I was kind of breaking the glass and trying to shape it to get kind of the shape I wanted, and that worked out for some pieces like these, but not so much where a piece would suddenly break off and then I get this weird place that looks like Oklahoma or something. Anyway, you guys have fun, and we're gonna do more experiments, so stay tuned. One more thing I just noticed. The white didn't break at all. All those large pieces held up. And looking at it, I think the white glass the white glass is definitely thicker than the other glass. So there you go. If you can find thicker bottles, you're going to have much better success with your pieces not breaking. It's not a ton thicker. It's like maybe 10 or 20% thicker. You can barely see it, but you can see it. So try to find thicker glass if you can. All right, see you guys.